Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. So I quit a job because I'm apparently too sensitive. So, I was working on a corporate identity package for a cadre of personal trainers. Women I met at the gym. There are 5 of them in total. All very pretty, very professional women, who are putting together a service for women such as them. I've worked out around the same time as 2 of them, and boy can they work me under the table. And the ringleader, the one I've spoken mostly to, has a background in track and a degree in sports science or something. Though I think she works at corporate for Wells Fargo as her main job. Anywho, I've been working with a young woman who I will call Cindy and another freelancer named Scott on this project. I brought them both in because the job kind of fell in my lap suddenly and I wouldn't have time to work on it without help. November has not been a productive month for me, and I'm still pretty depressed, though my cousin has been a great help in that aspect. She's been invaluable here and I appreciate Paris' presence, though her and my wife are nearly constantly bickering. Cindy has been running point on most things, as I've only met 2 of 3 women. The woman I consider the bosses and the Latina lady I consider the financier. Gonna call them Kate and Gloria, respectively. The team of them are working out of a studio they're converting for their needs, and we needed to stop by to see where we would put up logos, go over some color options and show printed materials so they can see things physically. Just seeing things in an email or on the computer isn't the same in this kind of job. You need to hold mock-ups and physical material to see how the clients and public will see it. Since Cindy wasn't able to make this meeting, I was sent, and that's when shit got very weird. I was left to wait outside the place for like 20 minutes while a security guard for all the businesses on the attached building eyed me. I had told him I had a meeting there, gave him the studio number and the lady's name. And he still made me wait outside. Then I saw a lady come down, look at me and go whiter, as she was already white. She was Asian or whatnot, but she was little, fit and looked put off. She went back in and I thought maybe she was just working out with them. She was definitely wearing stuff that looked like she was with them, but I had never actually been in the studio, so I didn't know if they already had clients. 5 minutes later I am told by the security guard that I have been asked to leave. I ask about the meeting and apparently the person I was supposed to contact isn't there. I ask about the Asian woman and he doesn't tell me who she is, just that isn't who I said I was meeting and that I would have to reschedule. Later, I received a call from Cindy who told me she got a phone call asking why she missed the meeting. I told her what happened and she said it was weird and that she'd get back to me. Then we found out that the little Asian girl whose name we will call Sue, was there with Mariah, the woman I was supposed to meet. But saw me, had only seen Cindy up to that point and was apparently uncomfortable with her and Mariah being alone in the studio with me. She apparently first pretended like no one showed up, saying she didn't see Cindy. But a little investigation from Mariah and Kate found out that the girl knew full well that I was there for the meeting and just didn't want to be alone with me. I'm told by Cindy and Mariah that Sue may just have had a problem with being alone with a man, but I know Kate pretty well from our workouts. I ask her to level with me. To which she admits that, of course, it's 'cause I'm a black man, and Sue wasn't expecting it. Sue has often had problems dealing one-on-one with black men in general, and that in the future they would just preclude her from any meetings with me. She apologized and hoped that this wouldn't sour our working relationship. Thing is, I'm sour. I'm super ducking sour. I'm so ducking insulted and angry right now I'm not sure what I want to do. Well, no, I know what I want to do. I told Cindy and Scott they can buy out the initial designs I made and go on with the job without me. I do not want to ducking work with these people anymore. Cindy understands. Scott, white male that he is, thinks I'm tripping. I tell him I'm not tripping and that they are perfectly capable of doing the job without me, or bringing in a freelancer to take my spot, but apparently Gloria doesn't want to work with just Scott and Cindy because she thinks their ideas are pedestrian. which is odd. Yeah, she has approved mostly only my ideas, but Scott and Cindy are both incredible creative minds. They'll do perfectly fine. I've told Kate that I'm going to bow out of the contract, citing my clause about hostile or contentious working environments, which covers things like this, but assure her that they can use everything we've worked on so far and that Cindy and Scott will do a great job. Now I've got this bitch Sue, who I never gave anyone permission to give my personal number, calling and texting me to apologize. I told her that there is nothing to apologize for, I just don't feel comfortable working with her. People think I'm overreacting here. Hell, even my wife thinks I'm overreacting. Paris is literally the only one who thinks that I have better things to do with my time. I'm still going to get paid for the work I already did, so I'm not tripping on it. But folks is at me like I'm being spoiled. Telling me a lot of folks ain't in the position to turn down good work because of butthurt feelings, which is pants shittingly insulting, but whatever. I'm glad I don't have to work with racist twats if I don't want to. Kate is begging me to reconsider because the situation is causing friction within the group, with Gloria and the others apparently beefing with Sue over this, and she just wants things back peaceful. I fail to see how that's my problem. But I wasn't sure of my decision until I got a call from Gloria and it turned out to be Sue. At first, she was apologetic. She begged me to reconsider working with the team and that she really liked my ideas and designs. She had just been uncomfortable being in an enclosed area with a tall strange man. I wanted to correct her and say, "Black man," but I wasn't trying to be contentious. She went on and sounded sincere, and I was about to change my mind until she said, "And I'm sure you need the work too. The market is bad out here for everyone, but it can't be any easier for you and yours right now." I asked what she meant about me and mine. Did she mean freelance artists? She then said I knew what she meant and she didn't want to sound racial insensitive. I face-palmed. I politely thanked her for her apology and wished her and her team the best. I then told her that I could not in good conscience ever work with her and that Scott and Cindy would be able to do a good job. She apparently felt something change in my tone and asked what she said to offend me, to which I replied that fact that she has to ask me that is an indictment in it of itself. I thanked her for her time and hung up. Phone and email has been blowing up ever since and it's unprofessional to ignore them, but I just won't deal with this right now. Plus I will see Kate at the gym on Tuesday, but I'm just done with this. I've quit better jobs for lesser reasons. Duck that. You're not overreacting. It's racist as duck. Sue needs to be held accountable for her actions and statements. She had security remove you from the building, lied about your not showing up to the meeting, and made racist comments to justify her behavior. If this group allows Sue to remain a part of the group, they are allowing her to behave this way. She is a representation of the group, and they're allowing her to be a part of it shows compliance and acceptance. Regardless of what you decide to do, she needs to be removed immediately. Never work with anyone who does not immediately correct this situation. Block her from contacting you and file a formal complaint with the supervisors. People do this at work because they are allowed to. I guarantee you are not the first person she treated this way, nor will it be the last. I don't think you're overreacting either. I think your boundary lines have been crossed and I think you have communicated this to all who need to hear it in a professional manner. Life's too short to be around those who make you feel uncomfortable if you don't need to be around them. And that statement, "I'm sure you need the work," is pretentious as hell. I'd use this as opportunity to show them you don't need their work and kick ass at that. Show them what they lost. And maybe Sue will learn that prejudices have consequences. Good luck to you, friend. On to a more golden horizon, I say. There's no way you can professionally work with these people anymore. Stand firm, don't talk to Kate about ontos if she brings it up, and move on with your career. You sound quite talented, so best of luck to you. Nope, you are good. Yeah, they were absolutely in the wrong and you were way more polite than they deserved. You are not overreacting. Yay. They pissed in the well of goodwill. You don't need that. I've only ever been called too sensitive by people who lack even a modicum of sensitivity/empathy. Nothing wrong with your boundaries. I personally think you're underreacting, if anything. First, I'm not black, so I can't begin to imagine what that's like, and I'm definitely not saying you're wrong in any way. However you ultimately deem to handle this should be supported. That being said, the fact that people are telling you that you're overreacting and you're even questioning yourself is not okay, and is a byproduct of a society that tells people of certain demographics that they should be lucky they have opportunities to work. What Sue did is unacceptable, but what all your other co-workers are doing by not getting rid of her immediately and asking you how else they can make it right, regardless of if you decide to stay or not, makes them just as guilty. They are allowing it and showing that that's what their company/project stands for. There should at minimum be a group meeting in which Sue has to answer specific questions about what she did to you. She should be let go regardless, and every single person who knew about it and didn't immediately take corrective action should have to do the same. They should not get to use your work that you've already done. If you aren't good enough to be in the same room as everyone else, then your work isn't good enough to use. For me, the fact that you even have to agonize over this shows they don't give two shits about you. This isn't your problem to figure out. Period. Emo, they should be bending over backwards to hold themselves accountable, compensate you for what they've allowed to happen to you, and taking clear definable action to ensure it never happens again. If not, then their project should fail. Something that is built of that type of injustice shouldn't be allowed to thrive. If Sue isn't removed and steps aren't taken to rectify the situation and make it right with you and stop it from happening to anyone else, then your experience should be shared publicly and people should know what kind of people are running that business. No matter what happens next, I'm so sorry this has happened to you, and I'm so sorry that you are even questioning yourself or being questioned by others. You deserve so much better, and I hope things work out great for you whatever you decide. Not an overreaction. Good on you for standing up for yourself. Not an overreaction. This much drama over your appearance? They must be sociopathic to think prejudice is okay. Nope, not an overreaction. Completely unprofessional on everyone else's part, and you are quite correct to quit that shit. I am also frustrated by your wife's reaction in all this. She's ought to have been supportive of you, and I really hope she comes around and realizes that she was wrong. Wow. Just wow. Props for being willing to walk away and maintaining professionalism in the face of racial bias and maltreatment. You aren't overreacting, not even a little bit. If any of your partners had been asked to leave by security for wearing the wrong shoes or having a sloppy hairstyle or some other nonsense, then they would no doubt have been extremely insulted. At least Kate has your back. Could you imagine if you had said anything about her being Asian or a woman in a derogatory way? You would probably be taken away in handcuffs. You handled yourself way more professional than I would have after being spoken to like that. You should tell them if they want your work, you want her gone. On a side note, do you have any updates with you and Amy? It's kind of sad that Amy took the other side almost immediately over you. Is she still complaining about you all the time? Has she done anything to help you yet? Glad Paris is there to check Amy and give her the verbal abuse that you can't throw at her. Amy's been doing better. It's still a struggle. I really do kind of hate these situations with Amy, because Amy has a habit of, I don't know, optimist vision. She's the kind of person who goes, well, maybe they weren't racist, they were just an asshole kind of benefit of the doubt kind of thing. It's pretty hard to connect with her on racial issues, especially since she's one of those. I'm not racist, I can't imagine anyone I know being racist. Why can't we all get along, rose-colored glasses people? Early in our relationship we got in an argument cause she wanted to bring in the glass jars for the spices to a store, rather than just buy them and transfer them from the little baggie to the thing at home. I didn't want to, cause if I go into a store with a container, people will think I'm stealing. She said she goes in does it all the time. No one thinks she's stealing and I'm paranoid. I wanted to say, honey, you a freckle-faced redhead with green eyes and a pale complexion. no one's gonna bat an eye at you. Needless to say, I was again tripping, and we went in her way. I got followed around the store and even talked to by security. Interestingly enough, that was another one of the times where maybe that one guy was an asshole, and not the store has a policy of keeping an eye on the black men walking around with empty jars, cause one by itself isn't an alarm, but both together, the brother's most likely up to no good. She's oblivious and naive, and I've made my peace with that. That attitude when it's obvious what's going on right in front of her is so ignorant, arrogant and dismissive of what you have had to go through your entire life. The more I read your journal entries, the more I keep asking, why do you stay? It sounds more like you have to babysit a naive child than have an actual life partner who puts in the effort to show they care and value the marriage. She comes off as completely ungrateful for the life you provide for her. Would she rather you walk away than change her behavior? It's not insensitive or unprofessional to refuse to do business with someone that operated in bad faith. Setting aside the circumstances, you showed up and you were ghosted, that's unprofessional. The excuses make it more unprofessional, and the only reasonable, professional response is to refuse to do business. I seriously doubt that she would have made that the last incident or conversation that would have correctly caused you to be pissed. Keep your sanity and let them deal with the walking HR bomb. Stopped work early, then stayed home. Their work culture has led their company to suffer without the skills of the primary artisan. Maybe they will learn, likely not. Serious professionalism on your part. If they were smart, they would follow your lead and jettison Sue now, as this won't be the last issue she causes. It takes quite a bit of entitlement and self-importance to make the decision for Mariah and the group on her own, regardless of the racist rationale. Her inability to keep her foot out of her mouth even when apologizing is also not a good trait for someone in a business built on personal connections. She's no longer your problem, but she sure is theirs still. I've experienced skis before. People think/act based on preconceived ideas and then, later, realize that they were wrong and apologize. Why the F aren't people thinking and making sure first before acting? It will always puzzle me. I don't even think they realize they are wrong, they just realize that everyone is mad at them, but not really what for. Should I try to make amends with my cousins? This year we did Thanksgiving in Pittsburg, where my dad's family is from. I, 27 meters, flew up, brought my cousin Paris, 22F, since she was with me, and my wife, 30F. Both my wife and Paris are white. This is important to the story. I hardly get along with my dad's side of the family. They can be trying at the best of times, but were always quite mean to me growing up. My dad was the so-called rich one who forgot where he came from. My dad is upper middle class at best. Anyway, because of the enmity the parents had for my dad, their kids always treated me like crap. As we got older, I didn't want to duck with them. Some folks apologized years later, like after the fact. But I generally am not a fan of most of my cousins, especially Ceecee, 30F, and Bebat, 28F. Take all the negative stereotypes you have for a loud and obnoxious black woman and roll them together with every cringy thing you've ever thought about said black woman and shake it up, and you got Ceecee and Bebat. Ceecee has 4 kids, from 3 baby daddies. Bebat has 5 kids from her deadbeat husband. These two have been rotten all my life, and not just to me, they just generally TW to everyone. But particularly to me. But, the added bonus of them being exceptionally racist to be black. Like anyone can be racist, you just gotta believe someone is worse or better based on their race. Black people may not be capable of widespread systemic racism, cause you gotta run some shit to be able to create a system, but racism, oddly enough, knows no race. Their mother Sophia, age I do not know, is the same. When Uncle Brad married Paris and London's mother twins, so both 22, Aunt Sophia was awful. And her kids were awful. And it has been an entire thing. So early I'm in the kitchen throwing down, like I do. I'm on one of the turkeys, the roasted one, my dad's handling the one that's being deep fried in peanut oil, and there was one being smoked by Uncle Mike. My wife's helping me by getting things together, and Paris, who this is her first time in years since Uncle Brad stopped bringing them because of Aunt Sophia and others, was also helping. It started with little comments about how, make sure they wash their hands. You know them white girls don't wash their hands. And I hope she not making the potato salad. I'll know one of them made it if there's raisins or some shit. It's a stereotypical joke, everyone laughs, Paris is fine, my wife is fine. But this shit persists. My wife helps with the mac and cheese. We do it from scratch with a roux, spices, we go with Gruyere and sharp white cheddar and add a little cream of mushroom and cubed turkey ham, covered with toasted panko, and sprinkle the top with the cheddar into the oven. Perfection. My dad's recipe, very very good. This is my wife's favorite, since my dad showed her how to do it. She's good at it, she follows the recipe verbatim. Which of course gets a few jokes from others, as the rest tend to eyeball it. We've cooked enough, we know. I have Paris help out with my dressing recipe, which is a cornbread dressing with sausage and sage, where the vegetables are sweated a bit before they're mixed in. Not as much of a crunch from the celery, but good mouthful. Things seem cool, everyone happy, both dishes are a big hit. Then I hear, "Damn, this mac and cheese the shit cuz." From Ceecee. I say thanks, but tell her my wife made it. She makes a face and says, "Shit. Well, I guess she's had enough black in her to pick up something." And busts out laughing. This is at a table with everyone at the family. Some laugh uncomfortably. Others rightfully is like, "That's inappropriate, but whatever." But then Bebat chimes in and she's like, "He had both his little white girls working there." Then remarks that Paris looked lost without her sister. Then talked about how she was acting too good to talk to her and whatnot, but how that's cool. Even her mother told her to stop. But Bebat says she is just saying Paris don't need to act funny around her. Ain't nobody gonna rob you or nothing. I won't go into detail, but we had little digs and shit like that all night. At Paris, at my wife, and at my cousin Raymond's wife, who is Puerto Rican, I think. Finally later, drunk Bebat says something to my wife that's utterly inappropriate. Basically asking her why you snow bunnies always after they men. Ain't there enough affluent white men out there? She said something about eating crumpets or some shit, but I'd had enough and told her to go for a walk. That's when she snap on me. She called me an Uncle Tom, like Uncle Brad. Cause I apparently can't handle a real black woman, so I go out there get my money than marry a white woman like all these other well-to-do brothers out here. And some other shit. I was cool to let it slide as her drunk nonsense until Ceecee chimes in and I'm getting their crap in surround sound. Gotta paraphrase this. So I kindly told them both to shut up. I asked them what their problem was and why they so concerned with my wife, Paris, and London, and Raymond's wife. I told her I don't know her life or her traumas, and I don't care. It has nothing to do with her being an unlikable bitch. Just cause she made bad decisions, dropping out of school to chase some boy, getting pregnant at 17, getting arrested for drunk driving, blah blah blah. Ain't got shit to do with shit, and has nothing to do with race. You made bad decisions. Same with Bebat. And I told her about herself. How she let some slick talking ass dude get her not to go to college, then knock her up, then every time she tried to do something with her life knock her ass up again. You talk mad shit about folks, but whenever you need money, or the kids need this, that and the other, you call me, you call Uncle Brad, you call my dad, you call Raymond and Darian, but you always opening your mouth. You talk mad shit about Aunt Joyce being white, but don't got shit to say at Christmas when she send your kids all those toys and gift cards. You are a horrible person and it has nothing to do with your skin color. You just an unlikable BTCH and you want everyone to be miserable like you. Please believe I got way more personal than that and more specific. But we ain't got all day. Oddly enough, she starts to cry and runs into the room. Ceecee calls me a few names and goes with her. Most of my family is like somebody needed to say that shit. And everyone's like, hey, you dish it out, you better be able to take it. Paris, who hates these two, is of course telling me I did the right thing. But my wife and a few of the older family members want me to go patch things up. We family, we fight, we bicker, but we need each other. I have never once gotten anything or assistance from them ever. I'm not just talking Ceecee and Bebat, but like the whole side of the family. I'm kind of salty you want me to go in there and basically say I'm sorry when I'm not. My dad wants me to do it to keep the peace. My wife wants me to do it because I went too far. Everyone knows they're struggling right now. And great aunt thinks that I gotta be the bigger man. But do I though? I'm still here for another 2 days. It may make it less awkward, but not checking these two is how they got this bad in the first place. Do I bite the bullet and lie and say I'm sorry, or trying to smooth this over just to make other family feel better, or should I just let that ride? I'm 100% cool with never having to speak to either of them for as long as I live. But apparently I'm being too hard on them. I'm young and I don't know the value of family yet. Well, so far family's value has been tied to how much therapy I've needed because of family. But I could just be being defensive and have a 24-year axe to grind with my cousins. So what do I do? TLDR cousins racist to non-black family members, I clap back and make them cry. Now family wants me to make amends and I don't think I did anything wrong. Being the bigger man doesn't mean tolerating their continual degradation of other family members. If you decide to apologize for the personal nature in which you dressed them down, it still needs to be clear that just because you apologize it does not mean their behavior will be tolerated going forward. Whilst they may be struggling right now, that does not give them the right to behave the way they do. You can act from compassion but make sure the boundaries are well communicated. I would have behaved the same in your situation. I don't care if your skin is pink and purple polka dots, people don't need to be treated that way. Making real amends takes both parties. I'm not sure they will be able to really receive you well, even if you try to apologize. It sounds as though they are really ashamed of themselves already and that's why they are being so obnoxious and mean to your wife and cousin. Plenty of people tear others down when they hate themselves. It's really sad that they feel so little self-esteem that this is where they are at. When you went off on Paris and London, did you go running back to apologize for giving them the hard truth? Or did you stand your ground and let those truths sink in? And then once they showed an ability to self-reflect and a willingness to change, you softened your position. I'm not saying that you'll get similar results here. It is likely that both Ceecee and Bebat have a victim mentality that prevents them from recognizing their own contributions to their problems. But they won't have any chance of improving unless someone is willing to call them out on their behavior. Stand tall. Put on the biggest ducking cheesiest sorry face you can pull and give them the sorry your lives are trash but I didn't mean to be rude and rub your faces in it apology and tell them you are sorry. Costs you nothing to throw them a line and it'll mean a nicer couple of days where they may end up keeping their heads down. Oddly enough I have this same shit going on 2 days ago like to the letter, the only difference is I am a Muslim. They need to understand that for every action there is a reaction, so this is my reaction, deal with it. If you want a freak show I will be your favorite monster. What you permit, you promote. Stand up to bullshit every time you hear it, or it will keep coming back, harder and bigger, until it is accepted as truth. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.